Well, from a new law that allows people from outside the state to use their operational licenses to work, to continued issues at our southern border. Governor Doug Ducey has been busy at the state capitol tackling issues affecting our state, but we're lucky to have him join us right here on Good Morning Arizona this morning after signing what is known as HB 2569. Arizona becomes the first in the nation to recognize out-of-state occupational licenses. And so the big question, first and foremost, thank you for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Of course. Good morning. How does this help our state?
This helps our state because we're going to have 100,000 people that are going to move to Arizona this year that want to go to work, and we say let's let them work. So we have universal recognition of occupational licenses. These are people that have skills and certifications from other states around the United States, and when they come to Arizona, what we don't want is the government standing in their way when they have skills and abilities. We said they don't lose these abilities when they pack up a U-Haul truck and they move to Arizona.
The opposition claim, the other side of this was perhaps that other states might have lower standards in order to issue those licenses. Does that affect the state of Arizona if we allow that?
They're still going to have to meet our licensing standards. They're still going to be under our regulatory framework. We really took into account public health and public safety first and foremost here. But what we didn't want to have is unnecessary burdens or obstacles that stop people that possess the skill, and some board or commission would make a decision that you can't work here, you haven't paid the piper. So we want to make certain that people can go to work, but that we're also protecting consumer health and safety.
And speaking of paying the piper, of course, it comes down to dollars and cents. Some people saying this takes away money from the states because then they don't have to initially get here and then get relicensed.
Well, the state will actually make more money. I mean, my concern is more for the citizen before the state, but the state will make more money when people are working, they're productive, and they're earning a living. That's how you grow a tax base. What we really saw is that some people would come, a trailing spouse, for instance, and they would say, wow, if I have to go through that certification time, spend that amount of time in a classroom to do something I already know how to do, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go to work. We already had this available for military spouses because military spouses move so often. So we had the universal recognition for military spouses, and now we have it available for everyone.
All right, looking forward to that. Let me switch gears here and ask you about a story that's garnering national attention this morning. I wanted to get your thoughts on the man whose military wife was killed in Afghanistan. He was allowed to stay in the United States under a process called parole in place. However, last week he was deported, leaving behind his 12-year-old daughter here in Phoenix. Your thoughts on why something like this happens?
Yeah, it really bothers me, this story, and it's not right. I'm glad that the authorities finally found the facts, and I believe have reversed their decision. But when someone has served and sacrificed so much for our country, this should have never happened.
And let me ask you, because this kind of highlights the problems that we're having there at the border. A couple weeks ago, you came out and said it was very important for fear that it would hurt our trade with Mexico if the president were to close the borders. You then met with him and seemed to change your stance.
I didn't change my stance. Okay. I want to see our border remain open. That's a priority for me as governor. Public safety and national security is a priority above commerce. He's the commander-in-chief. He has a better view of what is a threat at the border. I would like it to remain open, but whatever is necessary, whatever we need to do to protect United States citizens, and first and foremost to get Congress to act. So I came out of the White House. Of course, I'm going to be supportive of the commander-in-chief. We had a conversation. I spoke on behalf of Arizona and as a border governor. The border has remained open. I think that's a positive, but that doesn't take away the need for Congress to act. That's still a need. Our nonprofits, our churches are overwhelmed. They are at a breaking point. We had 66,000 people come across the border in February. We had 3,700 come on March 25th. That's an 11-year high. We've never seen these types of numbers at the border. Our nonprofits, our men and women in ICE and Customs and Border Patrol are at the breaking point. So we are calling on Congress to act on this crisis.
So let me ask you this, because in speaking to what you just discussed, you came out yesterday and said you were in support of the president releasing undocumented immigrants to these sanctuary cities. Now, we're already seeing our resources stretched here, very thin, of all these churches that typically help these immigrants. So why would we shift that and say that's okay to go ahead and dump those in?
Well, Javier, I think it's important that people understand that Phoenix, Tucson, and Yuma are helping as best they can. We're above capacity. I think we're at 137% in Phoenix, 173% in Yuma. We have El Paso, Texas, that is shipping people to Phoenix, Arizona. I think other cities and other states can carry their fair share of this responsibility as well. And again, I'm calling on Congress to act, but there's no reason that only Arizona, only Texas, only border states should carry this responsibility. This is an American issue, and American cities and states can participate.
So it wasn't necessarily to pick those specific cities throughout the state that have seemed to garner the president's scorn in opposition of his stance. You're saying let everybody share the burden. I'm
saying where there are willing resources and we have able people and nonprofits available, let's go to those places as well. We've done more than our fair share in the state of Arizona, and we'll continue to do that. But others can help as well.
All right. Always good talking to you. Thank you very much, Governor, for taking the time.
We'll be right back with more Good Morning Arizona.